Welcome back, folks. We are just getting ready to start game 3 of the tournament. Yes, thank you. All right. This matchup, we've got Gold Rush wearing the white jerseys and Albuquerque wearing the black jerseys. Starting off with Flash wearing the star for Gold Rush. And number 79 for Albuquerque. And off they go. Scrambling to get through. We got a little pile up on the outside lane. Everyone's back up. Everyone's all right. Flash takes a quick run and grabs the lead jammer position. She-Devil spins around the final Gold Rush defender and is on a scoring pass as well. Flying Flash over the apex, calls the jam off upon landing. So 4 quick points and a quick early lead for Gold Rush. All right, up at the line, we got Capri Stun for Albuquerque going against Seth for Gold Rush. Seth with some quick feet trying to shove their way around, spins around the final defender and grabs the lead jam for Gold Rush. But not to be too comfortable, Capri Stun is about half a track behind. Seth swings in, grabs the 4 points, and calls the jam off. Third jam getting underway. Duke Silver. Oh, nope. That's not the jammer. I don't see a jammer yet. Here they come. Number 79. That's She-Devil going up against Animal. Off they go. She-Devil falls to the ground. Claws their way back up to their feet. Tries to go around the outside. Knocked out of bounds. Animal grabs the lead jammer on the inside lane. She-Devil trying to get past those defenders. Having a tough time bouncing to the inside. Swinging to the outside. Animal skates through a little gap in the outside lane. Grabs 4 points for Gold Rush. She-Devil stuck in traffic. Having a heck of a time getting past the Gold Rush wall. Down to 2 defenders left. Swings outside. 1 defender left. And almost gets it. There they go. She-Devil clears. And Animal grabs 4 more points and ends the jam quickly. So quick early lead for Gold Rush, 16 points. Albuquerque at 0. Restocking the skaters on the track. Capri Stun will be jamming for Albuquerque. Flash is up for Gold Rush. There's the whistle. Flash goes to the inside. Capri Stun to the inside, steps out of bounds, gets recycled way back to where they started. Flash spinning past the final defender, takes the lead jammer status. And coming around quickly to engage the back of the pack. Capri Stun still stuck behind those defenders. Flash muscles through the middle, grabs 4 points for Gold Rush. And Capri Stun is through the pack on a scoring pass, but for naught, Flash calls the jam off. We got Mad Dog jamming for Albuquerque, going up against Seth for Gold Rush. Albuquerque defenders are right up at the line. Whistle blows. Both jammers look to the inside lane. Seth skips through, stays on their feet somehow, backward skating, and grabs lead jammer status. Small pile up there at the back of the pack. We got a star pass. Seth back to it, spinning around, grabs the inside lane, gets 4 more points. No, gets a forearm penalty and headed to penalty land. We got a power jam, folks. Albuquerque's got 30 seconds without an opposing jammer. What will they do with it? That star pass has been made, so Piece of Quake is the jammer of record. The star has to go on their head to be able to score points, however, but we are still on the initial pass. So Quake smashing through. 2 defenders left. Nope, they regroup. 3 defenders now. Quake trying to get through the tripod. Little help from their friends. Quake looks to the inside lane. Seth is out of penalty land and steps on the gas, charging through for 4 more points. And with no lead jammer, this is going to go the full 2 minutes. So 40 seconds left on the clock. Piece of Quake is on a scoring pass. Seth is on a scoring pass. Seth down to the last defender. Breezes past, grabs 4 more points. Off they go. Quake's got that cap on now. In position to score. Knocked to the floor by 11:40. Seth weaving in and out. Takes it on the inside lane. Grabs 4 more points for Gold Rush. Making it look easy out there. And short time on the clock. Quake trying desperately to get any points before the time ends. Jam clock has expired. And we're looking at 15 points for the Gold Rush in there. And the first 3 points for Albuquerque. So they're on the scoreboard now. We got Jobot jamming for Albuquerque. Up against Animel for Gold Rush. Defenders right up against the line. Whistle blows. Jammers press into the defenders. Animel trying to find a way through. Jobot looks like they got it. Yep, Jobot's in the lead. Lead jammer goes to Albuquerque. Jobot moving fast, trying to get around to get some points. Animel sweeping through in the middle of the track. Gets past the defenders and is on a scoring pass. Jobot on the ground, back up on the ground, calls the jam off. Smart move by Jobot there. So 3 points go to Albuquerque. They were able to hold Gold Rush to 0 in that jam by controlling the clock. Albuquerque will have a slight advantage at the beginning of the jam with 1 Gold Rush defender in the penalty box. We got a team timeout called. Team timeout. So, gives us a quick minute. Alrighty, folks. We are winding down to the end of the timeout. Some last-minute strategy talk over at the Albuquerque bench. That rolling whistle means it's time for the action. So, Flash will be jamming for Gold Rush. Going up against Duke Silver, jamming for Albuquerque. Duke Silver's first time wearing the caps today in this game. Little spill there in the middle. Flash scrambles, keeps up on his feet, and grabs the lead. Jammer status. Duke Silver scrambling, trying to get through. It's a tough wall to get past. Duke goes to the outside. Swings past. Flash sweeps into the inside on his toe stops. Grabs 4 points and keeps going. Duke trying again. Takes a knee out of bounds. Has to go back to the back of the pack. Flash, meanwhile, has gotten back to the pack. Slides past, and we've got a penalty cut track call against Flash. So power jam time. While Flash takes half a minute to reflect on life's choices, we're going to see what Duke Silver can do on their own there. And now Duke Silver's on a scoring pass. Cap back on the head. Here they come. Duke Silver to the outside lane. Last defender nudges him to the side. 4 points go to Albuquerque. And Duke Silver once again to the back of the pack. Crashes into a friendly back and an opposing back. Flash back from penalty land. Shoved out of bounds in the inside of the track. Little confusion. There, Duke Silver headed to the penalty box. So power jam going the other direction. And with just 17 seconds left on the clock, that means Duke Silver is going to be in the box at the start of the next jam. Flash tries to tiptoe to the outside lane, shoved out of bounds, but he quickly steps back in, grabbing 4 more points for Gold Rush. And the jam clock has expired. $12 points for the Gold Rush in that last jam, up against 4 for Albuquerque. So Seth will be starting off as the lone jammer at the moment, jamming for Gold Rush. Whistle blows. Seth crashes into the defenders, scrambles past them on the outside lane. Seth is the lead jammer. And coming in hot, Seth crashes through the middle of the pack, grabbing 4 more points. Duke Silver trying to make something happen here. We got a star pass that has completed. So new jammer record will be 3-2-1. Demolition Doll. Seth takes a trip to the penalty box. So once again, power jam and no lead jammer to call it off. We're going to go the full 2 minutes. It's going to get tiring. Demolition Doll steps through in the inside lane, grabs all 4 points. Oh, and from behind, Gold Rush defender knocks Demolition Doll out of bounds at the end. So they've got to go back to the back of the pack and try again. Big hit from number 16, knocking Demolition Doll to the ground. They're back in it. Seth is back from penalty land, crashes into the defenders. Demolition Doll made it through, scoring points. No, Demolition Doll is headed to the penalty box. Seth, lone jammer on the track, tiptoes out of bounds in the inside lane, quickly back into play. 1 defender left, slams through them, grabs 4 more points. We got a whistle on the track. Capri Stun headed to the penalty box. Very busy in penalty land. Seth slides through, grabs 4 more points. Penalty called at the end of the jam on blocker 71. That's a monster. A lot of penalties racked up there at the end of that jam. I don't know how many people are going to be left to skate at the start of this jam. But 63 points for Gold Rush against 16 for Albuquerque. Jam number 9 ready to start. We do have 2 jammers on the track, though, and that's all you need. Quickly now, She-Devil out in the lead, grabs the lead jammer status. Animal getting shoved around back there, stuck in traffic. trying to get past She-Devil. Quick juke, goes low, gets around those big defenders. 4 points there for the Albuquerque. And we got Albuquerque blocker back from penalty land. Gets flung out of bounds by the jammer. She-Devil puts on the gas, squeaks through for 4 more points and calls the jam off with a big old grin on their face. Well-earned points there. 8 go to Albuquerque and 0 for the Gold Rush. Very physical game so far this game. We've got Flash wearing the star for Gold Rush. We've got a timeout called. This is a team timeout called by Albuquerque. So if you are new to the sport of roller derby, each team has 3 60-second timeouts they can use anytime they would like, but they only get 3 for the whole game. So there's no refresh at the end of the half, but it does get you 60 seconds to talk strategy, give your people a breather, get a drink, do whatever needs to happen. And these folks definitely need to be drinking and hydrating because there's a lot of action out there. Now, for you folks who are local, next weekend is FitCon. It's an annual fitness convention. There will be 3 roller derby games at FitCon. Start times are 12, 2, and 4 p.m. So if you can't get enough roller derby, then join us next Saturday at FitCon at Sandy Expo Center. Ready for the next jam to start. Flash wearing the star for Gold Rush. Capri Stun, a little behind, and takes the outside lane. Almost got knocked out of bounds, but ducked and got through. Capri Stun for the lead jam. Look out, here comes Flash, and doing justice to the name, Capri Stun says, I don't want to have that foot race, calls the jam off. No points for either team there, but a wise move. Preserve some energy there. Tell you, I would not want to race either of those jammers on skates or on foot. So the penalty box is empty. That means everyone is on the track who can be on the track. She-Devil jamming against Animel. We've seen this matchup before. She-Devil zigzagging in the middle of a mess of people trying to get through. Animel found a way through, though. Animel grabs lead jammer status for Gold Rush. But look out, here comes She-Devil right on Animel's tail. Both jammers get to the pack. Animel tries to jump the apex, lands in out of bounds. Decides to call off the jam. We did get some points out of this, though. 3 go to Gold Rush, 4 to Albuquerque. So that brings the score to 66 for Gold Rush in the white jerseys and 28 points for Albuquerque wearing the dark jerseys. Capri Stun will jam against Seth. All the defenders are right up at the line. Little hesitation here. That was the whistle. The jammer's figuring out what to do. Seth decides to slink through the middle, tries to go the outside. And that wall right with him. Seth almost knocked out of bounds, but kept it up. Seth is the lead jammer. Capri Stun knocked out of bounds in the inside. Recycled back to the back of the pack. Slams into defender 16 from Gold Rush. Knocked out of bounds. And it looks like Capri Stun is going to the penalty box. We got a power jam. Seth will have 30 seconds alone on the track, except for all those defenders that Seth has to get past. Seth with a hop, skip, and a jump around the last defender grabs 4 points for Gold Rush. Putting the fancy moves on. And quickly coming back to the back of the pack. Try to score some more. Tiptoes around the outside of his defender and grabs 4 points. And Seth will call the jam off. It's a very strategic move there. That's going to give us a power start here. Nope, I misspoke. The Albuquerque jammer did make it out of the box before the jam ended. So we got 2 jammers. Mad Dog for Albuquerque and Flash for Gold Rush. We got us a Mad Dog fan club. And there's the whistle. Flash trying to muscle through the inside lane. Doesn't get it. He's broken through. Goes to the outside. Sweeps around. Flash for the lead jam. Mad Dog. Inside lane. Zigging to the middle. Stays up on the toe stops. Trying to get past the tripod. Does so. Slinks through. No. 1 defender left. There we go. Mad Dog made it. Flash casually grabs 4 points and calls off the jam. We got some big hits, high energy action here, folks. 82 points to 28 with about 12 minutes and change left in the first half. Capri Stun jamming against Animal. Defenders right there up in their grill. No personal space when you're a jammer in roller derby. There's the whistle. Animal tiptoes to the inside. Capri Stun held back a little bit. Animal to the outside lane. Past the final defender. Animal is the lead jammer. Capri Stun fighting hard. Squishes through there. Capri Stun is on a scoring pass. Animal takes to the outside lane. Grabs those 4 points quick as you like. And calls off the jam. No points scored for the Albuquerque team. And 4 quick ones for Gold Rush. I'm seeing an Albuquerque defender in the penalty box, so slight advantage goes to Gold Rush at the beginning of this. Seth jamming against She-Devil. There's the whistle. We got a little bit of jammer against jammer shoving. Eyeing each other to see. Looks like She-Devil took an elbow from a friendly face in their face. Seth grabbed the lead jam position. She-Devil's back up on their skates, though. Dancing to the middle. Squishes up against the tripod. Seth muscling through, trying to break those defenders apart. Does so finally. Grabs 4 points, taking the inside lane. And She-Devils made it through. So both jammers on a scoring pass. And Seth decides not to give Albuquerque a chance for more points. Calls the jam off. Capri Stun wears the cap for Albuquerque. Flash up on the line for Gold Rush. There's the whistle. Capri Stun to the outside, wide open, takes it. Capri Stun is the lead jammer. Flash is held up in traffic, smashes through the defenders. About half a track behind, though. Capri Stun smashing up into the defenders from the Gold Rush. Stumbles through on 1 foot, stays in bounds somehow. Calls off the jam. 4 solid points going to Albuquerque. And 4 points to Gold Rush as well. Oh, what's this? We have a jammer in the penalty box. We got a power start here. Albuquerque's got the jammer in the box. So the Animal all alone on the jam line, except for those defenders. Animal to the middle lanes, shoving, breaks through the defenders. 1 to beat, does so. Animal for the lead jammer. Animal making the best of this time as the only jammer. Hops over the apex and slightly into the apex. So that means Animal's got to go back to the back of the pack. Try that move again. So Animal to the outside lane, nudged out of bounds. Capri Sun is back from penalty land. Scrambling through. Capri Sun makes it through. Will be on a scoring pass. Animel grabs 4 points and decides they're going to call the jam off. So Gold Rush sitting with 98 points, just sniffing up at the back end of the 100 mark. Albuquerque sitting pretty with 32 hard-earned points. Joe Bott will be jamming against Seth. Jammer's going to start off hip to hip, skate to skate, knee to knee, put the pressure on quickly there from the start. Seth tries to sneak past, doesn't get past the whole defense though. He's pushing against the whole dang tripod. Joe Bott zigzagging, trying to shake those defenders off. Seth trying to muscle through the middle, gets past him, one left. Seth makes it, spinning backwards, gets through. Seth is the lead jammer. Joe Bott shoved out of bounds by Dr. Rotten, I think. No, BB Boomer, excuse me. So Seth powers through, grabs 4 more points for the Gold Rush. That'll put them well over 100. We got a star pass now. Demolition Doll is wearing the star for Albuquerque. And they've got one job to do. That is to catch up and force a call off here. And that is exactly what happens. Seth reads the situation, calls the jam off. So 2 more points go to the Gold Rush for 6 in that jam. 1 point snuck out there by Albuquerque. Jam number 19 getting underway here. We got She-Devil against Flash. Both jammers make quick footwork. Both of them go out of bounds in the inside lane. And we got a cut track call. Nope, sorry. Misread the sign. So Seth is going through. She-Devil trying to get past. Seth did make it through now for 4 points. She-Devil back of the pack, eyeing the defense, nudged out of bounds there in the center of the track. Seth skipping side to side, Flash side to side, grabs 4 more points for the Gold Rush. And 1 Gold Rush defender headed to penalty land. Flash engages, crashes through a few people, bullies his way through, gets 4 more points to throw on the pile. She-Devil almost makes it through, hits the deck after bouncing off of Dr. Rodden with an amazing beard, I have to say. Flash casually skates through a wide open hole there in the inside lane. Seth makes it through, piece of Quake, gets a star pass, is the jammer of record. Flash tries to call off the jam, but there is no lead jammer, folks. 30 more seconds of pushing. Flash takes it on the inside lane, scoops up 4 more points. Quake trying to get through, using those Albuquerque defenders to try to break up the blockers. They're tough ones to get past. Flash sees an opening in the inside lane, takes it, grabs 4 more points for the Gold Rush. Piece of Quake up against Dr. Rotten. They both go out of bounds. And that's the end of the jam. Beastly jam there. 24 points for the Gold Rush, taking them to a score of 128. 4 points earned by Albuquerque, bringing them to 37. We've got an Albuquerque defender in penalty land. Animel jamming against Joe Bott. Animel at the head of the pack, breaks it through. Animel will be lead jammer. Joe Bott scrambles, tries to get through. Bouncing around between defenders. Joe Bott's got it. Joe Bott is through on a scoring pass now. Animal knocked down and out of bounds, so they are recycled back to the back of the pack. Animal swings through the inside lane, calls the jam off, but not before Albuquerque could pull out a point. 3 points go to the Gold Rush, 1 to Albuquerque. 3 minutes, 15 seconds left on the game clock for the first half. Seth will be jamming for the Gold Rush. She-Devil jamming for Albuquerque. There's the whistle. We've got a little hesitation studying by these jammers, figuring out what to do. She-Devil thinks they saw an opening, pushes through. Seth got an opening on the outside lane, though. Scrambles through, grabs it. Seth will be the lead jammer. She-Devil caught in traffic trying to get around on the initial pass. Seth has made it to the back of the pack. Hop, skip, and a jump around the outside, hugging the rope, but gets through for 4 points. So there they go. She-Devil's made it through now on a scoring point, or a scoring pass, pardon me. Seth looks to the inside, crashes through into off of the defenders, calls the jam off. We got 5 total points for Gold Rush there. Looks like they did call the jam before Albuquerque got any. New face up on the line, Pusha T wearing the star for Albuquerque, going up against Flash for the Gold Rush. Gold Rush defenders bracing for impact. Both jammers go to the inside. Flash a little bit ahead. Muscling through, breaks through the middle of the tripod. Flash has got it. Flash with lead jammer. Pusha T scrambling back to their feet, trying to get through. We got a little spill there on lane 4. Everyone's back up. Flash puts on the gas. Tearing through there for 4 quick points. Pusha T outside. Dodging to the inside, scrambling, inside lane, takes a knee out of bounds, has to go back to the back of the pack. Flash, 1 defender left, gets past him, and that's the end. Keep skating. We've got 40 seconds left. That might be 1 jam. It might be 2 jams. We've got a whistle now. Official timeout. So that will stop the game clock. The officials will be figuring out what to do. Sometimes they just need to sync up, make sure all the clocks and times are accurate. Check in with the penalty, folks. In the game of roller derby, you're allowed 7 penalties before you are out. So 7 per player. And if a player gets close to that, then there's some process so people know about it. I don't know if that's where we're at, but game's back on. Mad Dog jamming against Animal. Mad Dog pushing hard on the inside lane. Animal coming around. Mel swings wide, gets it, tiptoes on the outside, got it. Animal. No, we got a penalty, forearm penalty on Animal. That's a power jam, y'all. So Mad Dog will be the only jammer at the moment. Animal goes to the penalty box, and that timer does not start until the butt cheeks hit the seat. So Mad Dog recycled back, trying to make something happen here. We've got 1:15 on the jam clock. The regulation time has expired. We got a star pass, successful star pass there. Going to piece of Quake. This is familiar territory for Quake, becoming the jammer. Animal back from penalty land, tries to jump around somebody, lands in the inside out of bounds. It's a scramble of bodies out there. Mel finds a way through. Quake stuck in traffic, trying to tiptoe past a couple defenders. Not happening. Animal casually finds a gaping hole in the inside lane and takes it, grabbing 4 points for the Gold Rush. Quake shoving up against Dr. Rodden. Oh, big hit from behind. Hard hit from Animal sends Quake to the floor. And Quake back on their feet, on their skates. Animal comes back to the back of the pack, bouncing off a friendly back. And that's the end of the jam, end of the first half. What a game so far. Very physical, high energy game, though, folks. This is great derby we've got. So the score at halftime sits at 153 points for Gold Rush, 42 for Albuquerque. We're going to have a 15-minute break. Don't go too far because more action is coming right up. Alrighty, folks. Getting ready to start off the second half of game 3. Rolling whistle, that means we are about ready to go. We have Seth jamming against She-Devil. Whistle blows, both jammers go to the outside lane. And Seth is going to play the old jammer game. Going backwards. And after about 3/4 of a track, he decides that's enough. Gets a head start there. Seth, outside lane, grabs lead jammer. She-Devil trying to get around those blockers, nudged out of bounds by Sanction. Coming back in, Seth doing a little jammer on jammer offense / defense. I'm not sure what it is when it's the jammer, lead jammer doing it. But She-Devil zigzagging, trying to shake those defenders off. Seth squeaks through for 4 more points for the Gold Rush. And She-Devil getting recycled way back to the line where things started. She-Devil trying to spin around defenders, spins out of bounds to the center. Seth peels off the final blockers from Albuquerque and snatches up 4 more points. She-Devil recycled again. Seth joining the tripod. Trying to put some defense in. Here comes Doc Silver with some help. There goes She-Devil. Made it through. She-Devil's on a scoring pass now. And Seth decides to call the jam off right before She-Devil gets to the pack. So 12 points go to Gold Rush, bringing their score to 165. Flash will be taking the star for Gold Rush. Capri Stun for Albuquerque. Flash with a little side-to-side stepping. Runs into defenders, shoved out of bounds in the middle. Capri Stun bouncing around between blockers. Flash finds a way through, muscles through. Flash will be the lead jammer. Capri Stun to the back of the pack. Shoved out of bounds. Pops back in to try for some points. Flash sidesteps around the defenders. 4 more points go to the Gold Rush. Capri Stun now trying to get through the center of 2 defenders. Bouncing around like a pinball there in the middle. Flash sidesteps in the middle. Makes it through on the inside side of the rope. Capri Stun on a break. Hits the deck though. Hits the deck again off of number 16, Doc Rotten. Now head-to-head with Doc Rotten. Slips past Capri Stun in scoring position now. So Capri Stun approaches the pack. Sandwiched in between 2 defenders, hits the deck. Flash muscles through the entire defensive wall of Albuquerque and ends the jam. And we've got an official review being called. Official review for which team called it? Gold Rush calling the official review. So the score currently is sitting at 181 for the Gold Rush, 44 for Albuquerque. Official review is the coach or captain's opportunity to challenge a call made or not made by the officials. Each team gets one of them to use per half. It is a use it or lose it situation. Basically, they will make their case to the officials, and if the officials agree, then that review is retained, so the team has a chance to challenge something else. If the officials disagree, then the review is gone. And unlike timeouts, the official review takes however long it takes. While you're here with us for the day, folks, please check out our numerous vendors here. We've got the Witch's Brew Coffee Company coffee truck sitting right outside our front door there. Grab some caffeine, fuel you through the end of the tournament, and 1 minute. Alrighty, in a rare twist of fate, I found out the verdict before everyone else. And now the coaches know, so the review is not retained. So that means the officials did not side with the thing that was brought up by the coach. So that review is gone. We are back in the action. She-Devil is jamming for Albuquerque. Swinging wide, trying to get around the defenders. Animel is wearing the star for Gold Rush. She-Devil scrambling through. Almost made it. Animel makes it through on the inside lane. She-Devil trying hard, spinning past one defender. One defender left. 3 bodies hit the floor. We got a whistle on the track. Somebody's going to the penalty box. And it is a blocker for Gold Rush. She-Devil did get recycled to the back of the pack, though. So still trying to get through on the initial pass. Animel slyly hops over the apex down here. Squeaking past for 4 more points for the Gold Rush. Here comes Mel. Outside lane, zigzagging, inside lane. Gets through the defense. 4 more points go to the Gold Rush. She-Devil trying to find some salvation there through these defenders. It's hard, folks, to get past. Animel snakes through the inside lane, grabs 4 points. She-Devil's made it through finally. So She-Devil is in position to score points. Animel skips through the inside lane, calls off the jam before She-Devil can get to the pack. So big 20 points there for the Gold Rush, and that throws them on the upper side of 200, sitting pretty with 201 for the Gold Rush. Albuquerque with 44 points to their name. Penalty box is empty. That means everyone who can be on the track is on the track. Seth jamming against Capri Stun. Stun getting squished between jammer and blocker there. Seth opting to play defense instead of offense, or offense for himself. Seth swings to the outside, does a little jukey head fake. Defenders stay with him. Seth shoving through the middle, trying to get past. Seth makes it past, and Seth with lead jam status. Capri Stun has made it through also, so both jammers on a scoring pass. Seth's going to put some pressure on Capri Stun, taking them out of bounds. Back in, both of them. Seth to the inside, quick burst of speed, grabs 4 points and calls off the jam. Mad Dog taking to the line for Albuquerque. Flash for the Gold Rush. Flash muscles through the defenders, grabs lead jammer status. Mad Dog trying to snake around the outside. Quick star pass is complete to Piece of Quake. Flash takes an opening on the inside lane for 4 more points. Quake has the star now. They can't give it back. So the only option is to push through. And so push they do. Flash quickly trying to get through. Nudged out of bounds. Big block there by Albuquerque. Puts the brakes on the Flash. Sending Flash back. Flash back in it. Trying to zigzag. Stumbling over top of people. Hits the deck. Everyone's back up on their feet. Quake down to the last 2 defenders. Trying to get by, does so. Piece of Quake makes it through and is on a scoring pass now. Flash gets past, grabs 4 points, and calls off the jam. Animel will be jamming for the Gold Rush. And Jobot wearing the star for Albuquerque. Jammers start right close to each other, and then they quickly split after the whistle. Animel to the outside lane, knocked out of bounds, pops back in. Jobot trying to get around these tall defenders, having a tough time, gets through an opening a little bit. To seal the opening, Animel headed to the penalty box on a cut track call. So we got a power jam, but not for long. Jobot is also headed to the penalty bench. So when this happens, as soon as the second jammer gets there, the first jammer is released. Second jammer only sits for as long as the first jammer was in there, because with no jammers, you got no game, you got no points. So both jammers are back out of the penalty box. Both of them squishing into the pack. Animel to the outside lane. Jobot trying to dance around defenders, sandwiched between 2 of them now. Trying to get through. Mel is back to the back of the pack. Takes to the inside lane, crashes into a friendly face. Bouncing back up. Mel gets through. 4 points for the Gold Rush. Jobot trying to find space to get through still. Here comes Animel again. To the outside lane. Goes down and out of bounds. Great block there by Caprice Dunn. That's going to recycle Animel back. Does give Jobot a little bit of time to deal with traffic, but still stuck there. Fighting for an opening. Animel makes it through. We've got 10 seconds left on the clock before the jam expires. Jobot on a breakaway, almost got through, but looks like defenders regrouped in front, and the jam clock expires. So 8 points are awarded to the Gold Rush. 0 points for Albuquerque. Starting this next jam off, we have Seth jamming against something silver. Duke Silver, yes. Seth's in the front, takes the lead jammer status. Duke Silver bounces off of Sanction into the inside, or Sanctum, rather, and recycled back to the starting line. Seth fights through the crowd, gets through with 4 points for the Gold Rush. There's Duke tiptoeing on the inside lane, manages to stay in. Still can't get past the defenders, though. Seth bounces into a couple folks, spins around behind the last defender, grabbing 4 more points for the Gold Rush. Star pass is complete, so the new jammer is Piece of Quake, spinning past defenders. We've got a forearm penalty called on the track. Seth just knows it wasn't him. He keeps going for more points. Looks like that forearm went to Gold Rush blocker. So we've got 1 blocker down in the penalty box. Quake's got the cap on now, eyeing the track, and Seth decides to end the jam. So big jam there for Gold Rush. 14 points go to them. Some whistles going off. It looks like we've got an official timeout to straighten out a couple things. So we got a slight adjustments happening to game clock. Game clock is corrected. Thanks to Moof, keeping track of the official time, keeping everything straight. So we are back squared away. Rolling whistle means back to the action. Flash wearing the star for Gold Rush. Capri Stun jamming for Albuquerque. Whistle blows. Off they go. Flash zigzagging side to side. Gets around the outside lane. Past the defenders. And will be lead jammer. Capri Stun on a quick break. Oh, stumbles out of bounds. Great defense there by the Gold Rush. Caught him at the last moment. So Capri Stun has to try to fight through again. Flash is through on a scoring pass. Capri Stun with a duck and roll gets through, and Flash is going to call the jam off. And we have an official timeout once again. Some possible hiccups here with our technology. But I think it's back and working. The officials are just making sure everyone's on the same page with the scoreboard and the other record-keeping devices. I want to thank all of y'all for coming out to play some roller derby and watch with us. Some folks traveling here from a little ways away. Thanks for coming to hang out with us in Utah, play some awesome roller derby. Rolling whistle means we are back into it. Looks like Animal lining up against She-Devil. We've seen this pairing before. There goes the whistle. She-Devil, Animal dance to the outside. Bodies hit the floor. Animal's out in front with the lead jammer status. She-Devil almost made it past. Rocked around by defenders. Crashes into Animal. And both jammers get through the crowded pack Both are on scoring passes. Animel is the lead jammer, so they are in charge of the clock. And right before they get to the pack, they decide call off the jam. Four more points go to the Gold Rush, bringing their score to 239. Albuquerque with 44 points. And 15 minutes and change left on the official clock for the second half. Joe Bott jamming against Seth. Another pairing we've seen before. Seth is taking the offensive-defensive stance, pressing Joe Bott between defenders. Seth breaks away, goes to the outside lane, snatches up the lead jammer status. Rolling around for a scoring pass now. Joe Bott made it through the fray. Joe Bott's on a scoring pass. Seth dances out of bounds, back in, tiptoes along the inside rope, gets through for 4 points, and calls the jam off right before Joe Bott can get to the pack. So another 4 points go to the Gold Rush, and using those lead jammer powers to control the tempo and the timing of the game. Flash lining up next to She-Devil. That's the whistle. Little pause there. She-Devil tries to break the outside, steps out of bounds. Flash takes to the inside, tiptoes, makes it through. Flash is the lead jammer. She-Devil dances around the outside, almost made it, but danced to the out of bounds. So back to the back of the pack, makes a breakthrough, got it. She-Devil on a scoring pass. Flash shoving through, one defender to beat. Does so, grabs 4 more points for Gold Rush. And Flash checks the status of the track and calls the jam off. So we've got Joe Bott jamming for Albuquerque. Seth jamming for the Gold Rush. Albuquerque defenders come right up to the line to start. Gold Rush settles in just ahead of them. Seth breaks away in the outside lane. Grabs the lead jammer status. Joe Bott knocked to the ground, pops back up. Looking to the inside, zags to the outside. Down to Doc Broughton. Almost makes it. Trying to get through, one defender swings wide to the outside, makes it through. Joe Bott is through on a scoring pass now. Seth breaking through with 4 points and keeping an eye on Joe Bott's status, and casually calls the jam off as Joe Bott reaches the back of the pack. So 4 more points on the pile for the Gold Rush. Empty penalty box. All 80 wheels are on the track. Now we've got Panamaniac jamming for the first time this game. Shoves through the inside lane with flashy shoes. There are flashy boots. Grabs lead jammer status. Mad Dog shoving, trying to get around these defenders. Panamaniac spinning through the crowd. Makes it through for 4 more points. Mad Dog looking for an opening, looking for help from teammates. Gets out in front of Panamaniac. Maniac to the inside. Mad Dog to the outside. Maniac caught up in traffic. Mad Dog makes it through. Panamaniac headed to the penalty box. We got a power jam, folks. Mad Dog, the only jammer around for 30 seconds. Let's see what they can do with it. Albuquerque blocker scramble, trying to make openings for Mad Dog. Mad Dog has passed 2 defenders, 2 left to beat. Swings to the inside lane. Out of bounds. Maybe. Pops back in. Yes. Recycled to the back of the pack. Takes a hit from Gold Rush. Keeps on ticking. Back to the back of the pack. Just play it safe. So, Mad Dog shoving, trying to get through. Panamaniac is back from the penalty box, but with no lead jammer status anymore, we're going to go the full length of the jam, which boils down to 20 more seconds. So, Panamaniac is back. Swoops to the inside lane. Spins around. Grabbing some points. No, grabbing a penalty. Back to the penalty box for the Panamaniac. And the jam clock expires. So we're going to have a power start here in favor of Albuquerque. Gold Rush has 1 jammer and 1 blocker in the penalty box. Capri Stun wearing the star for Albuquerque. And official timeout is called. Official review is called. Looks like Gold Rush is calling for an official review. I thought they'd used their review, but nonetheless, that's what's going down. So the coaches go to plead their case. Prince Albert. Well, while we get this figured out, we still have 2 more games left to play here today at the Derby Depot. We still got some vendors around that you should visit. Empanadas 801 being one of them, with fresh from-scratch empanadas. We've got Zapples making sweet treats, caramel-covered apples, and yummy-looking things on sticks. We have High Noon Glassworks. Alrighty, we have a verdict. There was a little confusion. That was actually Albuquerque calling the official review, which makes sense because they had one to call. The review is retained. They were looking for some points to be deducted due to jammer scoring points after a penalty. So the score has been fixed. Back to the action. Now, Capri Stun jamming against Panamaniac. Stun ducks to the inside, knocked out of bounds by Baby Boomer. Getting recycled back. Capri Stun trying to make the most of the end of this power jam start. Panamaniac is back from penalty land. Capri Stun makes it through. Grabs lead jam status. We got a star pass on the track. Seth grabs the cap for Gold Rush. Capri stun. Hard knock off of Doc Rotten. Hits the deck back up with a smile. I think we're all right there. We do have an official timeout called. Alrighty, that official review is to adjust the score from that. I'm sorry, the official timeout is to adjust the score from the official review. And that can only happen in the jam following when it happens. So that was important to happen. Now it's fixed. We're back to the action. Flash trying to get through, stumbles out of bounds, making room for She-Devil to grab the lead jam status. Look out, here comes Flash, moving fast. Coming to the pack. She-Devil spins through, grabs the points, calls off the jam. Quick footwork there. 4 points go to Albuquerque, holding Gold Rush at 0 for that jam. Now we have Pusha T wearing the star for Albuquerque and Animal for Gold Rush. Whistle blows. Animal trying to shove through the middle of the track. Pusha T zigzagging, trying to get around this big wall of defenders. Mel makes it past the last blocker. Gets it. Animal is the lead jammer. Pusha now knocked out of bounds, pops right back in. Animal takes an opening in the inside lane, snags 4 more points. And Pusha T with some fancy footwork manages to stay up and in bounds. Didn't quite make it past the defenders though. Mel swoops in, takes a big open hole in the outside lane, and comes through it for 4 more points. We have the pivot for Gold Rush headed to the penalty box. Mel goes low, gets around the outside, scoops up 4 more points for the Gold Rush. Pusha trying to get through. Looks like, there's a star pass. Demolition Doll has the star now. Bodies hit the floor left and right. Animal comes out unscathed, grabbing up 4 more points. Demolition Doll is the jammer of record now, holding the cap up against Doc Rotten. Looking to the inside, can't find an opening, looks to the outside. 1 defender left, shoved out of bounds in the middle. They're going to get recycled. Mel crashes into the Albuquerque defenders, smashes through, picks up 4 more points. Demolition Doll looking for an opening, still on the initial pass. Mel tries to fly through, lands out of bounds. Coming back in. Into the jam. Tremendous 28 points there for the Gold Rush. And with a fresh complement of skaters on the track, we have Seth jamming against Mad Dog. We've seen this matchup before, I think. Seth staying close to Mad Dog. Mad Dog trying to find an opening, decides to try to squeeze through the middle. Seth scrambling to get by, falls down, pops back up quickly, trying to dance past those defenders. Tripod stays with him. Seth's got it now. Seth makes it through for lead jammer status. Mad Dog nudged out of bounds on the outside ropes, but makes a successful star pass to Quake, I think. So Seth putting the brakes on piece of Quake. And we've got a penalty called on the track. Looks like the refs are saying the star pass was incomplete, so that will send Quake to the penalty box. Seth dips around, grabbing 4 more points, and is back to the back of the pack again. Little stumble there, but stays upright. Seth looking for an opening. Trying to push through the outside, does so, but might have gone out of bounds, so he's going to play it safe. Goes to the back of the pack. Back in for another go. Seth on the toe stops. Out of bounds by the last defender. And the jam is off. Called off. Looks like 8 points were scored by the Gold Rush. 0 for Albuquerque. We got a timeout called, team timeout called by Albuquerque. That might be Gold Rush taking the time out. Saw our medic come out with a bucket. I thought we were going to have a fluid cleanup, but looks like the fluids all stayed off the track, at least the ones that need to be cleaned up, so that's probably good. But we do have one Albuquerque skater off to the medic's corner. So, timeout has ended. Gold Rush sitting at 299, just shy of 300. Albuquerque at 49. 3 minutes, 8 seconds left in the second half. We have Flash jamming against Jobot. Jammer starting hip to hip. That's the whistle. Flash takes off, grabs the lead jammer status. Jobot makes it through as well. Both jammers on, scoring pass now. Jobot moving quickly. Flash approaches the pack. Ducks to the inside. Grabs the points. Calls off the jam. But not before Albuquerque manages to get 2 points of their own. So that puts the Gold Rush at 303. Albuquerque at 51. Great hustle there by Jobot at the end to sneak those points out. We got Duke Silver jamming for Albuquerque, going up against Animel. That is the whistle. Animel takes off on the outside, grabs the lead jammer status. The Duke trying to get through. Staying inbounds on 1 foot, down to one defender. Duke makes it past. Hits the deck, back up. So Duke Silver on a scoring pass. Animel grabbing 4 points on successful completion of their first scoring pass. Duke Silver takes the outside lane. 4 points on one leg for Albuquerque. Animel held up a little bit in traffic here. Swings past the last defender and calls the jam off. All righty, folks. Capri Stun wearing the cap for Albuquerque. Seth with the cap for the Gold Rush. 1 minute, 10 seconds on the game clock. Jam begins. Seth scrambles to the inside lane, picks up the lead jammer status. Quickly now, Capri Stun made it through as well. Both jammers in position to score. Seth has reached the pack again. Spins around, knocks somebody over. And Capri Stun hops over the apex. Jam is called off. Looks like 1 point for Albuquerque, 3 for the Gold Rush. Penalty box is empty. Everyone's on the track who can be. Flash jamming against She-Devil. This might be the last jam. Flash gets out in front. Is the lead jammer. She-Devil fighting, trying to get through. Swings to the inside. One defender left. Recycled around. Didn't quite make it past that last defender. So to the back of the pack. Flash breaks through. The regulation time is ended. And Flash will end the jam. So, unofficial score. Wait for the rolling whistle before that scoreboard turns to final. But we're looking at 318 for the Gold Rush, 56 for Albuquerque. That's the final score. Game 3 in the books. Winner goes to the Gold Rush.